edition of Under the Mango Tree. Today we are going to be discussing demolition, Edo politics and direct primaries. While we are waiting for our special guest, Comrade Tony Kabaka, I'm going to introduce the discussants right here with me now under the mango tree. Starting from my left is Dr. Clement Obagbinoku. He's a political scientist and also a lawyer. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
On my immediate right is Barrister Patrick Biose. Welcome and thank you for honoring our invitation, sir.
Thank you so very much. God bless you. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Edo State.
A more familiar face, of course, is Comrade Solomon Idiogbe. Welcome to the show.
Mr. Moderator, very good morning and thank you for having me today under the mango tree.
Thank you. Welcome.
As usual, yeah.
So let's get straight into it. There's been a lot of controversy, Doctor, about direct, indirect primaries, the mode of the primaries, and how it's going to move forward with the challenges of COVID-19. So let me ask you first, set us an agenda. What is direct primaries, indirect primaries? Give us a background on what we are discussing, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. We're talking about direct and indirect primaries. I would like to take an excursion to the Greek democratic state. You know, in Greece, we had what we call direct democracy, direct representation, and indirect representation. When democracy started in Greece, we had what we call direct democracy, where every citizen of Greece will gather in a square and everybody will be represented by his own self.
Right.
So that can be taken to mean direct democracy. But we can take it from there to begin to look at direct primaries. When you talk of direct primary, you are indirectly saying that people, individually, should be responsible for their action, for their voting process. So indirect is like indirect democracy, where you have representative democracy. That's what we have now. Although it was orchestrated from the Western world, from America, that's what we copy. And you can look at the limitations that is associated with indirect democracy, that is representative democracy. Because when things are going on in the National Assembly, you have to look at the people you voted in. Are they adequately representing your interests? Are they giving you the voice that you need to have? So, but when you talk of direct primary, you are responsible individually. You go there and you cast your vote for the candidate you want to be voted, be voted to represent you.
Yes.
But when you say indirect, you are relying on others to cast votes on your behalf, which may not be reliable. It's not dependable. It's easily manipulated. That process is easily manipulated,
right,
because you have to appoint, in our case, in our climb now, governors will now maybe rely on the people they have appointed. Maybe special assistants, personal assistants, commissioners, chairmen. Those ones are the people that will now want to go and vote in a candidate.
As delegates.
Yes, as delegates.
Yes.
And those people may not adequately represent the interest of
the wider interest. Yes.
So that's the background. If you have a panoramic view of the Greek state, democracy, then you can begin to visualize what we are talking about. We're talking about direct and indirect primaries.
Thank you very much, sir. So we have that foundation, Comrade Solomon. In your own understanding, why is there so much interest in direct primaries here? Why is there so much interest? It appears that the APC has chosen direct primaries, but it seems the Edo State government is more interested in indirect primaries. So what do you feel is the interest there?
Well, for me, when you talked about what is the interest, I may not want to be, I may not be able to have gotten exactly what you mean. What is the interest? Because if you had asked what is the interest in the indirect primary, then I would have been able to answer clearly. But however, let me attempt to look at it from what I think you mean. that why this direct primary, why not indirect? First, COVID-19 pandemic as it is as of today does not and cannot permit people to gather in a manner that an indirect primary would require. Because for an indirect primary, queuing from what Doc said, the indirect primary means they are going to take people from their wards to a location, and it's not coming from a single local government. It's going to be across the 18 local governments of those states, and they are going to gather at a place and then cast votes. And that means, you know, because it's an indirect thing, it may be compromised. So I'm not looking at, I may not be looking at the compromise angle. I'm looking at the health hazard it may cause. In doing indirect primaries, you may be transporting COVID-19 from local government X to local government Z.
Yes.
Because people in local government A may have COVID-19 and those in local government C didn't have. Because you have brought them together within an environment. Because Mikey, when you bring them, money obviously is going to exchange hands, either by way of trying to arrange for feeding, transportation, and all other... And
accommodation even.
Yes. And in accommodation, mark you, because if you've been involved in delegates matters, you know that most often delegates are not kept one per room. There are usually 2 or more in a room, depending on who's paying the bills. And now the scrapping for candidate also becomes an issue. Candidate A wants to pick, candidate B wants to pick, and then sometimes he breaks the ranks and files of the party, where sometimes a leader of a delegation comes and in the end it discovers that only him is in the hotel of, I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
So all that will create bad blood. So I think that the APC was wise when they said indirect primary, because a direct primary, because what direct primary simply means is that they will stay in their various local governments and wards, cast their votes from there in their usual gathering. It is easy to coordinate the 2020 specification by government of not more than 20 persons within a catchment area.
Yes.
So I'm sure you'll be able to gather it at that level and ensure that you maintain the prescribed mode of association. Wash your hand, use your face mask, social distancing, and all that. And so what I really do not understand, but I think I do in a way, is that the state government asking for an indirect primary is looking for a way to influence those that will come and vote, because as the chief executive of the state, he has the resources of the state at his disposal. Then is able to hoodwink. If you like, use criticism. If you like, you say use of force. If you like, you say compel people to do his wish. The drama that happened at the last Edo State House of Assembly supposed inauguration is enough to tell you where some persons came later and said that you saw me on a shot, I was forced. The other one said I was asked to go see so person in his house. On getting there, we were commanded, to go to the house and all that. All that could happen when you do an indirect primary. But in a direct primary, you can't
marshal everybody in one
to
place.
Say you must go and do my bidding. I'm sure that was the wisdom, or that's the wisdom the National Working Committee of the APC had, and said, let's go and do it in direct primary, to considering the health hazard that it may cause when you say an indirect primary. So I wonder why at this point the state government, who is marshalling out laws, if you like, you say martial laws, because when you say curfew is a martial law.
Yes, it's definitely martial law.
And then the same governor wanting an indirect primary that will contradict or contravene the initial martial law that he gave. Because the essence of saying you want curfew at night is to ensure that people do not breach the laws.
Yes, or gather
social distance.
So in the end, you will discover that the government seems not to be sincere in their purpose and actions as it comes to the issue of either COVID-19 pandemic or as it comes to the primaries of the party. Because you cannot approbate and reprobate at the same point, because it's the same you that is saying social distancing. It's the same you that is wanting to do a thing that will breach the social distancing. So it doesn't tally. So if you ask me what is the interest, I wonder what the interest is. If not the interest to hijack the process and enshrine or entrench yourself in a system that the people may not actually benefit or may not be in the common good of the people.
Thank you very much, Comrade Solomon. Of course, I am Ahmed Mahmoudou, and I'm going to ask Barrister Patrick now. For the sake of argument, let us say we are going to adopt indirect primaries. Where are the venues that can handle such a crowd? We are talking about delegates from 192 wards. Can you give us some background? The number of delegates that may be involved, who those delegates are, how they are chosen, and possibly where they can even be hosted in the event that comes through.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presenter. Talking about where to assemble, a convenient place to assemble the delegates that may be choosing to represent all the 192 wards for the Edo State governorship primaries in APC, for instance.
Yes.
The most convenient venue will be no other place than the Ogbe Stadium.
Okay.
And when we are looking at these putting delegates together from across the 192 wards, we are looking at not less than 5,000 persons
in the stadium.
In the yes.
For example, let's assume
to be assembled at the Ogbe Stadium.
Right.
Now, like my colleague had just said, Comrade Solomon Diogbe, there are several communities, local government areas where COVID-19 this thing has not been recorded.
Yeah, I understand.
Somorika in Akoko Edo local government area, for instance.
Yes.
No record of no case of COVID-19 has been recorded there. So now, if the direct primary mode is adopted, as the National Working Committee of the APC has recommended, you will discover that when this exercise is being done in Akoko Edo, for example, the threat, the risk of being contaminated or spreading the pandemic from that local government to any other local government will be eroded.
Yes, it will be taken away.
But by the time you take people from Akoko Edo, those from Orionwan, those from Ovia Northeast, those from Esako East, and so forth, you assemble these people.
Them to Ogbe
you assemble these people, for instance, at Ogbe Stadium. The possibility of all other persons, those from Akoko Edo in Somorika, who do not have a record, a single case of COVID-19 pandemic there, the possibility of getting them contaminated from Benin City is there. And where we were trying, everybody is making the best effort that we can to ensure that this pandemic is not spread. You discover that allowing an indirect primaries will end up exposing Edo people
further
deeper and more grievous the risk of getting contaminated. So I think the governor of Edo State, the Edo State government, should please allow the decision of the APC National Working Committee for a direct primary to prevail, because it is one of the best ways, apart from the fact that it is the most democratic of all other mode compared to the indirect mode
or consensus.
Or consensus. The direct primary mode is the most democratic because everybody is involved, and you are being involved in the process
all
from your
members.
Locality.
Yes, all
from
active
your
party
ward.
members.
So asking everybody or advocating that everybody from across the 192 wards should assemble at the Ogbe Stadium to have the primary to decide who becomes the governorship candidate of the APC through the indirect primary mode is not something that should be encouraged. That is my take.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us. Send your comments on our page so that we can include some of the questions you may have and put it to our panelists to discuss. Doctor, Barrister has highlighted the advantages of the direct primaries. Now, I want you to speak on how it may be implemented in face of this of COVID-19. So let us give us a mental image of how it will best be handled to reduce person-to-person contact, in your own opinion.
Yes, thank you. I begin to wonder sometimes, who is even afraid of these direct primaries? It has been done before in Lagos State, and nobody complained. At the end of the day, the incumbent governor then, Ambody, did not have any reason to protest, because every registered PDP member, APC member, went out to vote for who would be their candidates at the election.
Yes.
So there was no manipulation. We're talking about the convenience, how it can be. It is as easy as it is. You say direct primary. Every APC card carry, every APC registered member. But it's not every voter now.
No.
You know, because when we talk about direct primary for a particular party, people are likely to get confused that they want to relate it to
like general elections. Yes,
it's not a general election, because in a general election you have every voter coming together to vote. People will vote for APC, PDP, and other parties. They will be there, but yes, this one is just APC. So the crowd will not be as much as people want to think. But when you get APC registered member, it will be manageable. The crowd will be manageable because it's not the entire electorate we are talking about now. It's only APC card. So you get 20 people, and we are talking about word by word.
192 words. Yes.
Going to be conducted word by word. Even if you have so much APC people in a highly concentrated area like those have Benin and all that.
Yes.
It cannot be like that in other wards. Maybe in Somorika, Koko, Edo. It's just APC member, and the crowd will be manageable. I think in relation to this COVID-19, I think it will be quite manageable.
So what we are saying under the mango tree today is that the option of direct primaries is definitely more suitable than the option of indirect primaries.
Absolutely,
yes.
so.
It's the best. It's the best. Considering the health hazard that the indirect primary may cause, that's with the further weaken the protection or the shield that the government in quotes said they are trying to create. So if you talk of, I wonder, somebody who is saying take Panadol for headache and is coming to give you a hot slap on your face. I don't understand. Would the slap increase the effect of the drug
or worsen it for you?
Creates more headache for you.
There will be more something else.
So for me, it's tantamount to a man giving you anti-malaria drug and putting you in a mosquito-infested room.
Yes.
You understand? When you say you should come and do an indirect primary in a COVID-19 already incidented area. Because you are giving me an anti-malaria drug. The effect of the anti-malaria drug is to help kill the malaria parasites. And then you are putting me in a malaria infested room. So what are you doing? Are you trying to save me, or you are killing me? And in the world, you are telling the world that you bought me anti-malaria drug. So I think that if Edo State government is sincere, they may have their issues, but in the interest of Edo people, because I think that the interest of Edo people should be more paramount in the minds of the states than personal interest, because governance is holding power
in trust
for the people, and that is why they say democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So when you begin to now say you prefer what is more beneficial to you, then it's not in trust, it is for sale.
In addition to that, it is even a better battlefront to test your popularity.
Yes, the wider participation.
Yes, direct primaries. Because if you say you have performed, you deserve a second term, you have earned it, then allow the people to talk. The people have to come and say yes.
That will be a referendum on your performance.
Yes, it will be a testimony to what you have been talking about. That
yes.
You actually earn it. It is now the people that will prove to you that you actually earn it, not you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's a better platform for people to express their confidence in you.
Exactly.
So if going by what he has said, who determines definitely the mode of these primaries? Because we are talking about, this is party politics. If the National Working Committee has said it will be direct primaries and the state is insisting that it will be indirect primaries, what happens? How is this going to be resolved?
I think the issue of whether, or the issue of who determines what mode of primary to be conducted, is that of has to do with the constitution, with the provisions of the constitution of the party. Looking at the APC constitution, I may not be quoting a specific section, but it is clear that the National Working Committee of the party has the powers to determine what mode. That is where the guideline comes from. The state does not issue guideline for the primaries for its own
conduct,
for it to determine who becomes the party's flag bearer. Yes, I think there has been this series of arguments here and there that the state government is relying on what happened in 2018, claiming that in 2018 there was a resolution which allowed the state government to recommend to the National Working Committee the mode of primary that will be most suitable for the particular state. I think it depends on the circumstances of the time. At that time, a resolution cannot supersede the position of the constitution. The position of the constitution as it stands now, as it is extant, is that the National Working Committee has the sole responsibility, the powers to issue guidelines as to what mode of primary their party, in fact, I'm speaking specifically now of the APC constitution, which empowers the National Working Committee to determine the mode of primary that will be conducted for any state, for a particular state. It depends on the situation, the prevailing situation in each state. So the National Working Committee reserves the right under the constitution of the APC to determine what mode of primary, whether direct or indirect or consensus, to be adopted.
Thank you very much, Doctor. So going forward, give us an idea of what you think is the best situation that we should be facing right now. Of course, we have the challenges of COVID-19. So what would be your advice?
Well, normally the party will have to appoint people to superintend over the primary elections. Those people should be adequately educated and equipped, especially in the face of this COVID-19. They should not just be carried away by the votes of these party members and how their candidates can win. They should try, they should also seek the services of health workers at every venue, because it's very essential. You hear people now walking on the road, they just collapse, and you never can tell. Some of them may not, they may be hale and hearty before the exercise. In law, there's what we call egg share score principle. You know, the egg share is very fragile. And we are advised not to fight people you don't know, strangers. Those people may be ready to die, but you just pushing them, you give them the opportunity
to collapse.
Fall, and I say
he's the one that caused it.
They accuse you for murder. So you don't assume that everybody is sound, because a very sound person may just die, may just collapse now. So you have to employ, the party is advised to employ the services of first parts, health workers at every venue. Although that may cost some money, but it is better that you save the lives of people at the venue than
risking their lives unduly.
Yes, because you have to effect those COVID-19 principles.
Protocols, yes.
So that you can safeguard the life. Every venue, do not overlook a particular word that the people here may not be many, so you don't know. It can happen. So
we are talking of at least 192 healthcare workers in all of those.
Yes,
at least one person.
No, at least two.
At least two.
Yes, because one person may be overwhelmed.
That's true.
Yes, one person may be overwhelmed. The hand washing and sanitizer, whatever, should also be well observed.
Thank you. Comrade, your own thoughts on this issue. Going forward, what should we be looking at? What are the areas that you would like to see focused on, so that we can run all of these primaries safely and definitively?
The interest of people is the area I want government and the party to focus on. The common good of the people. What is the common good of the people? I think they started very well. I mean the party, the national party, by saying direct primary. They want what could be best referred to as internal democracy. And then they want to also join government to ensure that the COVID-19 pandemic is not further spread. So that first has shown that they have the interest of the people. But more on the interest of the people, like he has mentioned, there should be, for every ward, specified place for them to wash their hands, sanitizer. Don't let them not rely on their individual sanitizers, but let them now rely on a central sanitizing point, that everybody coming into the voting arena or coming into the ward venue for the conduct must first pass through a normal screening process of getting to wash your hand, wear a face mask, get your hands sanitized, ensure you maintain a social distancing that is going to be specified, and there should be at least not more than 2 health workers. That must include a physician, because when you say health workers, it may be ambiguous, you understand, but not less. I mean 2 health workers that must include a physician, a doctor that have general medicine knowledge, you understand?
Yes.
To ensure the coordination of, I mean, in each of the wards. Then after that, you must also ensure that the dispersing of the voters must also be uniform. That as you come in after casting your vote, there are some business centers you go to now, like big supermarkets you go to. They will say they cannot allow more than 20 persons. They go there and ensure that 20 persons are done. They allow another 20 in. So, and they ensure you maintain that social distancing. That mode is what we would expect there. And when you are also dispersing, they should also, it's not just when you are done conducting, then everybody gathers together and discuss what you have voted or who you have voted. They should also maintain that, so that the issue of this pandemic will not come spreading via even the direct or the indirect primary mode. Then, most importantly, the people conducting must look and ensure that the election is free and fair and not marred with irregularities. Because they could direct primaries could still be marred.
Yes.
If there is sincerity on the part of those coming to conduct the elections. So that there should be equity. He who goes to equity
must come with clean hands.
So those who are already clamoring for an indirect primary, for whatever reason they may have had, you would have allayed their fears if there is free conduct,
clear and straightforward. Yeah. Your final words, barrister.
My final word on this is to the governor, particularly as the chief security officer of the state. In quotes, please, you should take necessary steps to encourage your followers, those under your stewardship, those people, to do all that is necessary to ensure that there is peace and security in Edo State. That is on one hand. And as a party man that you are, I encourage you to recognize the fact that the party is supreme. Whatever the constituted authority or arm of your party has come forward with, I think should be respected, particularly if they are acting within the provisions of your party constitution, which is the APC. That is my final word.
We are still under the mango tree. Thank you, Barrister.
Thank you very much, sir.
Doctor, your own final words. Give us your closing thoughts.
Well, thank you, moderator. There's nothing much to say other than to also advise the government of the day that no matter what you are looking for, the security of your people should be paramount. Whether you win or you lose at the end of the day should not be your agenda. It is what can keep the state safe that should be of major concern to you. Because we always say that you never can know the true nature of man
until you
expose him to power
and money.
Exactly. Because we have been privy to so many things that have happened in the state between January
and now.
Now, demolition here.
Very turbulent times.
Yes, people were laying dignitaries from the airport, burning of tires and all that. Those ones are not necessary.
And none has been prosecuted.
They are not necessary because at the end of the day, you will be destroying your own people. The people you seek to preside over and to even better their laws, you will be destroying them. Exactly what I was talking about when some of my friends were discussing this Port Harcourt demolition with me. I told them that as a governor, you don't move against your people. You preserve their lives. You don't destroy their means of livelihood. If the worst comes, you confiscate the property. But when you are a governor, you are supposed to improve on the lives of the people, but not to destroy. When you demolish, you destroy.
You destroy.
You don't do that. I remember when Gbomudia was a military governor of Old Midwest State, and when they were overthrown by Murtala Mohammed, properties were confiscated. They were not destroyed.
And preserved.
Yeah, they were not destroyed. If the government wants to continue to possess them, fine. If at the end of the day they try to review and say, okay, we have reviewed your case, we want to hand the property over to you, but you must pay certain things, fine. Life goes on. You create a peaceful atmosphere.
Yes.
Yes, for people to exist and go about their normal business. You don't steal for people, you don't frustrate them, you don't destroy their property.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it all. We've been discussing Edo politics, direct and indirect primaries. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind presence and the words that you have given to us. I hope you have had a better understanding of the issues at stake. Until we come again, we are still expecting our special guest. So we are going to take a pause for now. I remain Ahmed Mahmudu and we are under the mango tree. Thank you very much.